Thank you very much, Heidi, and thanks everyone for being on the call this morning. My name is Dr. Elle Provencher. I am a doctor of natural medicine. I also have a background in holistic and bariatric nutrition, and I'm an advanced energy practitioner, as well as a bunch of other things. So I love Ruby because Ruby is extremely time-saving for me. I have started with Ruby probably about 4 months ago and created numerous documents that have been helping me not only for myself, but for my patients as well. So what I started yesterday is I have a brand new patient that would like a 3-month program. And he asked me, is $10,000 okay? And I hiccuped and swallowed my, yeah, like, okay. So I said, wow, what kind of information am I going to create to create a $10,000 program? Because I wanted to make sure that I was extremely transparent with him and make sure that, he was getting what he needed. He was not just looking for nutritional support, but enlightenment as well. So my background at the advanced energy medicine, and also I do hypnosis and meditation, I figured let's start there. So I said, what can Ruby create for me? So the first thing I did, and I'll show you what I did, is I did go into IntelliChat and I started to ask questions, and it morphed from there. So I'm going to share my screen. Can you see Ruby?
I can.
Okay. So this, you know, was yesterday. Please hold all of this. So it first started out was create for me a 1 week enlightenment and stress reducing guided meditation that continues upon itself daily, starting with a 10-minute story that continues and ends on day 7. Now, the reason why I did that is because I wrote a very lengthy guided support chakra balancing hypnosis a few years ago that I use within my practice, and it's worked out very well. So I wanted to start with this gentleman first to create a really good nutritional program. So I started off into the diet program for Ruby and realized at this point the diet that I needed to create for him, I actually had to come from my heart. I do a lot with Eat Right for Your blood type. His blood type is AB, so that's very specific. But that was going to be part of my protocol. But as I started to morph, I'm like, geez, what other kind of hypnosis or meditation could we create? My goal was to hopefully give him 2 hypnosis or meditation scripts per day for him to follow or divide it out throughout the week. I also put other things in as what are affirmations that I could send him daily for support. So throughout this, first thing, this is what Ruby created. She created this 1 week enlightenment and stress reducing guided meditation program that built from it all. So it talked about a journey and it says, close your eyes, take a deep breath. And so what I am hoping to do from all of this is not only will I record it with my own voice, but once I've done this, and you can see she created a beautiful program. It's a beautiful story that anyone can follow. I'm happy to send it to anybody. And then what I did is I said, okay, elaborate from it. So I just kept in IntelliChat. What I had done is I had gone to the persona. Well, first, excuse me, I created an IntelliChat. I went into that part. I put it into Claude 3 Opus, right? It costs a little bit more, but it creates a better system, better, more words for what I need to do in my system. I didn't put anything into a module at that point. I basically just went in for a specific persona. Mine was basically a wellness, someone interested in wellness. I categorized that wellness person by first going to a URL for doTERRA.com. I am a wellness speaker for them. So that is the kind of customer that I was looking for. So all of this is targeted towards that. Throughout this journey of me making this yesterday, and granted, I mean, you can't see it all, but I've got papers and papers and papers. I printed down because I still like paper. It makes me feel happy. But what I did is I changed the personas through some way, through part of this to elaborate. So my thought process went, how am I going to help my client? And then whatever information came toggling down from God, heaven or earth, wherever it came from, it now went into, I've created probably 20 hypnosis scripts using Ruby just yesterday. They were either 20 minutes or 30 minutes. I evolved that to changing it to the first person. And what I mean by that is I asked Ruby to change the way the script was written so that someone could read the script with their eyes open and still be hypnotized. Kind of a cool concept. So I've done that for years with my patients, but I thought, what would Ruby come up with? And she came up with some beautiful, beautiful hypnosis, but they all based off of my original chakra balancing one that I had put into the program. So she was learning from me, right? She learned my verbiage. She learned how it went. So I thought that was really good because that's going to follow suit. This is all in the same chat. She learned and learned and learned. So this one, she talks about the journey begins. This is like the first section of my question, let's say, and she created it. I don't know if you can see it. It's quite lengthy. I said, can you expand this to be a 10-minute meditation for day 2? Now it's the Enchanted Forest of what she had broken my script out to be, because my second part of my chakra balancing script talks about going into this forest. So she elaborated on it. And it continues and continues and continues. Now I'm just going to scan through here. Don't look because it's going to give you a headache, right? Because I did through all 7 steps. So I said, why don't I make this into a book format for not just my one client, but for others to be able to elaborate on? Because I do write hypnosis scripts. And I'm always looking for better scripts, that sometimes you can't think of them all. So, and I know I'll be looking, but why not create something that already has my tone included in this? So yesterday I literally probably printed off 30 different hypnosis scripts or a meditation script. Some of them have, this is how you anchor it in with an essential oil. Because I started to think farther. I do sell essential oils. Why wouldn't I include that in the program? So now I don't just have one system to help support my one patient. I now have availability to help others where here's a book. Even if you don't know how to do hypnosis, you can just read these scripts and you're going to feel better. On the business side, I added in the essential oils. Why not? Right? Not because, just for the business aspect, but also because I know that they work within the program of hypnosis because it anchors you in. So if you were to even think of, I want you all to imagine, right, that you see a really big lemon, like a big honking lemon in front of you, right? I want you to close your eyes for a moment, right? You think of that bright yellow, beautiful lemon and it's juicy, right? And you can smell the lemon, right? And you're like, oh my God, this is the best lemon I think I ever smelled in my life. Now I want you to imagine you're going to take a big bite out of that lemon, right? Some of you are getting it. You're making a face like, oh my God, right? So that is the part of hypnosis. So you can open your eyes again. So if I were to add specific oils and entrain the patient to help themselves, why wouldn't I do that? So this elaborated into, like I said, not just from helping my one patient to helping an individual person to now helping a collective group of people, because I went from all of this to create it into a course. So Ruby, as we continued, right, she's writing more and more scripts for me, right? So a journey of self-discovery. And then we went into building resilience and overcoming changes. Like all of these, you can see this hypnosis for improving sleep quality. Here's the oils, digestion, fennel, and marjoram. Then a guided meditation for self-healing. So what I did is I took each one of these paragraphs, popped it back into Ruby and said, okay, could you please write me this hypnosis for improving sleep quality using yoga and use these oils? So she did. So this is basically what the guy wanted. Okay, so his name's not here, so we're okay HIPAA wise. But I says, I'm a doctor of natural medicine, and I've refined this, right? I told Ruby who I was and what I needed for whom. And then I wanted to be educational, supportive, and caring. I wanted hypnosis, guided meditations. I wanted yoga and Pilates because I know he does that. I wanted them to add in the proper nutritional supplements from doTERRA because he wants to work with doTERRA. Great, right? He wanted the program to be $10,000. So for me, I'm like, okay, how am I going to do that? And she created it, right? So she told me what to do week per week. And then what I did is I went down and, took like each section and broke it down to elaborate more. And then at one point, I asked her to put in, let me scroll down. Here's the first one. Okay, 30 minutes hypnosis script for stress reduction and relaxation. Now you can write your own scripts in this, but I'm going to invite you to say hypnosis script. This way you can read and write me a hypnosis script in the first person so I can read it out loud and hypnotize myself. So it's really about putting in the right prompt for Ruby. You can't just say, show me the color blue, because there's so many colors blue. The more you refine it, the more unique of a property you're going to get. And the reason why I stayed in the same chat is so she would learn, she would build on what I was requiring and asking of her. And then it just became, a few hours of just solely, I was sucked into it. And then I wrote, okay, here's the 30-minute script for emotional well-being, following the prompt of what she suggested for me to do. So I thought that was kind of neat. So just close your eyes, going to zip through. Right. So I wrote like, I don't know, 20 or 30 of these, right? Because I kept refining it. And let me go for more. All right. Then I asked Ruby, could you write me a list of 90 days of empowering, and motivational text messaging, okay, to keep my patient engaged and feeling supported and happy, right? So here's 90 days. Right. So what did I send to him today? You are stronger than you realize. Keep pushing forward one day at a time. Tomorrow, believe in yourself and your ability to overcome any obstacles. But she wrote all of these based off of what my original questionings were. So I thought that was kind of neat. In 90 days. And it was like, bing, done real fast. Happy to send these to you as well.
Wow. Blown away.
So then what happened is while I was doing this, of course, God is funny. And here comes one of a colleague of mine that we are working on building franchises for longevity labs across the country. And his name is Juan, and I like him. And I wanted to show him Ruby. I'm like, hey, this is some pretty cool stuff. You want to take a look? And then I asked him, what are you up to? He goes, I am creating a spiritual wellness retreat in Tulum, Mexico. I'm like, oh, are you? Let me help you. Right. And he tells me what they're doing. Right. So they're using, let me put it up here. Spiritual wellness retreat that helps with inner healing and ceremonies that include sound healing, cacao ceremonies, temazcal, and peyote that will be held for adults in Tulum, Mexico. Right. And here it is. Here's choose a venue, plan the retreat. Here's all the stuff you're going to do. Here's your sound healing. Here's your cacao. Here's your sweat lodge. Here's your peyote, right? Here's all the other stuff you can do. So it goes from everything from soup to nuts. And, he was blown away. He's like, okay, you just saved me hours and hours and hours of work. Yep. So we're going to have a conversation, him and I, later today, because he wants to use more of this and he does media. So why not? So then I wrote that, okay. So then I came in with using what I promised, can you enhance this and make it to a workbook with questions, right? And in this, now I chose into the Mindful Millennials Guide to Inner Peace. The reason why that changed is because I changed my persona to a tech savvy 20 to 35-year-old client. And then what did it do? Right? Introduction, unplugging to reconnect. In our hyper-connected world, finding moments of true peace can feel like searching for a sustainable oasis in a digital desert. Okay, like I don't talk like that, but somebody that is tech savvy is going to go, oh yeah, right? So as I'm moving along, I'm like, oh, this is kind of stuff you put on TikTok, right? Because these are these people. And then what it did is Ruby just came into, here, embrace the here and now, hit the pause button, let's take a 1 minute, mindfulness break. So as she was creating this, it also went into creating more, right? And then what I did was I went through, cut and paste, create more, elaborate on this, please. And I get a full program, right? Then what I also wanted, here I went from here, from a new perspective for the Ava wellness persona, can you rewrite the program with questions that would engage that persona? And of course, you would certainly, I'd be happy to help you with that because now I want to create this a book.
Dr. Elle, I have to stop you a moment. I noticed something new in Ruby that I've never seen before. Can you scroll back up right now to your, okay, right there. See on the left where it says user? It's grabbing the persona that you're creating for this area in the chat. Wow.
Mm-hmm. You can see what it's doing. And like I said, it wasn't my intention to be on today's call, but it just kind of morphed into this. And it went on and on and on as this went. What I did was I went back up here, I cut and paste all of this, right? I popped it into here with the user thought. You can see this is Ruby's writing, right? When it comes up in this black and this green, this is her talking to you. And then as I got to the bottom, it created a book. And then it went here, The Empowered Empath's Guide to Emotional Freedom, Harnessing Your Inner Strength for Self-Healing. I'm like, sweet, right? So it created all this stuff going to a new persona, right? So building your resilience toolkit. And now, of course, as I started, again, I went back to, here's some questions. And then can you create more? Tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. And it just got deeper and deeper and better at what she was trying to create for me. Of course, from that point, I'm like, all right, so now that I've done this, let me get out of this one. And this goes for a while because she's starting to give me a whole program, right? Here, and then I asked, can you please give me 2 hypnosis scripts, right, to cultivate inner strength and emotional freedom? Because that was the first thing she wrote up in the what do you do for this course? Right? So I'm like, embracing your empathic strength. Okay, so she started to write it, right? And I didn't even ask her. Diffuse or apply a few drops of doTERRA balance blend. I'm like, thank you. Right. So when I was cutting and pasting, and some of these, I started to, I have a Mac, and I know that you can go into the conversations. I don't know if you can see this over here, where you can, I'm going to move you guys, where it's going to tell you, create for me this, right? And if I could click on that, and that's going to bring me back to all of this information, but it's also in the history. So if I were to click on here, all of this would pop open to this again. At the very beginning, when you and I first started, we anchored the doTERRA website in to be one of my personas. I didn't bounce out of this until today. All right, I capped into this part. So she kept writing and writing and writing. Right. And then I was like, okay, look, oh, she did one with Serenity Blend. Thank you. Right. But what I did is I took all of this information, and I have, like I said, a Mac. So I went to Pages, right? If you have Pages, or you would have Word, whatever your system is. And I just cut and paste, and I made pages and pages and pages, thus pages and pages and pages of information that I was printing off. And like I said, the reason I wanted to do it is because I wanted to see which format I wanted to put this all in is in a book. Do I want to keep some separate? Am I going to be using some of these scripts for me to read from to teach the hypnosis process? Right. So the teacher in me was creating my own personal files the way that I teach best. Now, what I did now is here's where I changed, right, the persona. So now it went from my doTERRA, you know, 40, 70 overall wellness person to a tech savvy millennial, right? And like, because how am I going to talk to that person? And Ruby's so cute. She's, hey there, fellow millennial empath, right? And it started to, get more and more and more. The reason why it changed from the hypnosis to the empath is because one of the hypnosis scripts was, becoming a better intuitive, right? Breaking up your childhood traumas, sitting with gratitude and positivity. So as you develop this, she started to elaborate even more. So my inner child was very happy with all of this. And then the business wise was like, already, it's already in the script. So I can sell it, like just say it, okay, I wanted to buy, let's just say I just want to sell a bottle of balance. Okay, so me as a business owner could say, oh, thank you so much for buying balance. I know how much this brings oxygen into your tissue, so I'm going to educate them. Here is a free script for you to use with this oil to help anchor it in with yourself so that you can find whatever you are looking for within your heart. Right. So I'm thinking beyond just thank you, Trace. Just I'm thinking beyond the sale. I'm thinking of because to me, it's all about community. Like I want to just give and give and give and give and give. Right. And that's why I think Ruby is so great for all of us because I think we're all light workers. So that's kind of how that works. So this continues and it goes on and on and on. And okay, so now I wrote, I was thinking about me. Can you rewrite those scripts to target an enlightened menopausal woman, right? Trying to reinvent themselves and to engage their intuition. Well, certainly. So she wrote two of them. Hey there, beautiful menopausal goddess. And then I was like, I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I would say that. Would that offend me? Would that offend others? So I kept the script of what she did, but I like she said diffusing clary sage. Now, clary sage smells green. This works really well for anybody in menopause, right? So I was like, that was pretty smart that she knew how to target those together because the doTERRA website was already dumped in here. So I did kind of change this. And then I said, okay, now repeat the process of removing the menopausal words to a word that is empowering to a woman in her late 50s to 70s. Okay, embracing your ageless wisdom. Still not sure if I like that, but she's maintaining, right, a lot of this process. So it gave me the chance to fool around with it a little bit. All right. And now let's repeat the process to inspire a 60-year-old male who's still vital in the world. I kept my persona the same. And this is just what I did. I wanted to work off of what I had. I didn't want the script to change because I liked the way that the hypnosis is written. It's very empowering, but I wanted to guide it to a male. All
Got it.
right. So now she kind of messed up this one, right? Still thinks that uh, inspire a 60-year-old man, right? And then using a motivational voice. Now, this is using a motivational voice and encouraging tone while targeting the tech-savvy millennials. Okay, I didn't write this, but she used what was prior, right? So that was kind of interesting. And I'm like, I never think Ruby's wrong. I just listen to her. I'm like, okay, let me come from that different point of view. So now I am the ageless adventurer. Right? So I'm like, will he work with that? I don't know. I might just say, hey there, Jeff, you know, and change it how I want it to be for that person. Right? It gives affirmations. And then it changed it. I embrace my role as a wise and vital leader. Right? So it changed it each time to enhance and also to motivate that target audience that I was looking for. Right? And remember, dear ageless adventurer, your vitality and wisdom are your superpowers. So I was just like, okay. So now I can take all this information and ask Ruby to rewrite all of that, staying with the same intentions to create yet another aspect. So I kept doing that, doing. All right. So then I'm like, repeat, removing anything that states tech savvy millennials, menopausal, ageless, and respectfully. Just address men and women who want to make a difference in the world using their intuitive gifts. Because at this point, I'm like, all right, I want to work with people that want to be more intuitive. I want to work with people that are empathic, who are trying to make a difference in the world. Because that's really my soul's growth is to do that. So I'm like, okay, let's keep talking. Well, now here, hey, they're intuitive trailblazer. I'm like that, right? That talks to everybody, right? Still giving me some nice things. I trust my intuitive gifts to guide me in making positive difference in the world. Perfect. So it continued and continued with this. So she's writing my story. All right. Then I said, ooh, reveal to me the top 10 things that intuitive people seeking spiritual empowerment are looking for. Now, this is not what I thought was going to come out. I thought it was going to be 10 things like I need this, and this, like you would in a Facebook post. What I didn't write was seeking 10 things from a Facebook post. If you write that part into it, it's going to address it like somebody in Facebook would make an ad, right? Like or a post like they wrote it. What she came into was, oh, look at this. They're looking for mindful apps and digital tools. They're looking for eco-friendly retreats. They're looking for online communities and support. I'm like, okay, great, right? What do they want? Because that's who we want to listen to. So, and remind you, I'm still all in the same persona, the same Claude, right? And then I wrote, okay, this was me. I needed to reduce my stress a little yesterday. So She wrote me this, right? But she based it off with the mindful millennial. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to trust the process. And it was actually pretty good. And it has still a lot of my there's a script that I did write about a pristine beach, feeling the sand and the rhythm of the waves, but I wrote that probably 3 months ago in a different part of Ruby. So I thought that was really neat that she brought in a sentence that I had already previously written. Like me, I wrote it and then changed it up. So I thought that was neat. I know I'm keep going on here. Okay, so here, Ruby, here's a user's the same. Change this to reduce my stress addressing a new persona. Okay. So now the persona is not there per se. Now this can be for anyone. So I'm like, all right, making it more refined. Right. Then here's me. Can you rewrite the above hypnosis in the first power? Right. Again, this is me. I need to have the customer read it to themselves, open voice, so that the brain hears what they're doing, because the brain trusts you more than anybody else and thinks you're the smartest person in the room. And then that person, your brain will let go of the gatekeeper, if you would. Right. So, yes, you can hypnotize with your eyes open. You do it all the time when you're driving, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm already home. Right. You're already hypnotized. So, you might as well do this. So, what it did is it created this really nice, um, to me, I like the verbiage here, as an ambitious, health conscious individual. I'm like, okay. So, all of that refined down to my target market. So, what I actually did is I sent this script to my colleagues, to my team that I'm working with. And I'm waiting for all their response because they're all over the world to hear what they thought, right? So it's giving affirmations, right? Again, as a successful, health conscious individual, I acknowledge the power I have to shape my life and well being by embracing personalized wellness solutions and making self care a non negotiable priority. I am confident in my ability to achieve optimal health, enhance my performance, and enjoy a truly fulfilling life. Right? I will continue to invest in myself and trust in my journey, my commitment to wellness as an inspiration to all those around me. I'm like, that's nice. Like, I like that. Right. So then, Ruby, using all of the hypnosis and meditation script that you've created in this chat, right? All of them that were above there. What's the best way for me to monetize these, and what's the price point? Well, Ruby is so smart. Okay, based on the hypnosis and meditation scripts, right? Considering that the audience is affluent, didn't ask for that, health conscious individuals, look at what she did. And I actually, this is the one I'm looking at right now. It's personalized self-hypnosis audio series. Okay, well, I could sell 5 for this money, like either one for $30 or one for $130. I could create an app. I could do a VIP wellness coaching package, right? I'm like, okay. I can do corporate wellness. I can do luxury wellness retreats. I'm like, okay. So when promoting these offerings, right, it creates more. So I'm like, okay, very cool. So then what I did from that point is I went back to one of the meditations that I had, right? And I said, if I'm going to make a book, and this is the one I like, the intuitive guide to unlocking the inner wisdom, can you write it for me? And so she did. Right. So this is like really good of, what this book could be. I'm going to go through this quick so you can see it. So I know I'm running out of time. And then what I wrote is, as a professional writer, because I am, I want you to write an ebook, okay, on intuitive, right? So I said, all right, let's create this, already knowing what we had. So then I did go from user, I selected a module, I brought it into ebook, I cut and paste, I popped it in there. She came out with a beautiful book for me. And like I said, I know I have to go, so let me just go to the end of it. You can see it. Everything is here. Now, see how this is like, okay, here's course overview, week 1, laying the foundation. What I did, I cut and paste, put it into the next conversation. Can you elaborate? Can you make this like a teacher module? And she did, right? So that's more and more pages, right? And then I asked her at the end of this, she had written something like in the back of this, Okay, here's your bonus. Enroll now and receive a complimentary one-on-one intuitive activation session. I'm like, cut, paste. Okay, write for me the 60-minute hypnosis script to assist in this activation. So I just cut, paste, popped it in there, and voila. Here's the next script. Kind of neat, right? And it's good. Like I said, if you've done hypnosis, ever had hypnosis, even reading this, you'll be like, okay, like you can feel yourself calm. I can feel the frequency behind this. Now, as I continue with this, it's going almost the thing. Also, I broke it down. Let's lay down the foundation. Here's lesson one. I asked her to elaborate. Okay, it went from these 4 bullets to now, look, this is how you do it, right? So I could take all of this and create a course from it and to give it to my patients or to you or whoever wanted it, and they can just follow it. Right. So I really like that it was doing this. Week 2, strengthening. Okay. All right. This is what it is. Can you elaborate? Sure. All right. There you go.